Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience and welcome to tonight's event. As you know, the subject of waste is not one that is easily or frequently discussed, which I find very strange because all of our lives, without exception, are intertwined with it. So I think that makes this conversation that we're going to have all the more important and critical. As many of you may know, the Goethe-Zentrum Hyderabad was inaugurated in December 2004 by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs via the German Embassy in Delhi and the Goethe Institute in Chennai, to carry forward the important task of promoting German language and culture in the city. The founder director, Amita Desai, having grown up in Germany, a country very mindful of these matters, I think, has especially championed the environmental cause. So in other words, since its inception, like so many of you, the Goethe-Zentrum has tried to be green in the ways that we can. For the past 2 decades, we've conducted plastic and flex-free events, solar-run buildings, waste segregation, e-waste drives, and so on. And through the year, we also try to engage with a number of related issues in different ways. However, one question that we're asked again and again at these events is, well, what are the solutions? And what can each of us do? And I think that these are very good, very important questions. So this Earth Day, as we continue to think about the health of ourselves and the health of our planet, we bring to you this session titled Waste Not, a presentation of solutions. And we're very excited to bring to you 4 very interesting people from different organizations in the field who will discuss their work and their unique solutions. It's also on us then, concerned citizens, to try and do our bit and carry that forward. So we have 4 presentations tonight. And each presentation will be followed by a few minutes of audience interaction. So if you have your questions and concerns, that's a good time to ask. And before each presentation, I'll briefly introduce our speaker. And the order we'll go in is Bintix Waste Research, Saahas Zero Waste, Peepal Waste Management, and the GHMC. Dr. Roshan Miranda is the founder of Bintix Waste Research, whose goal is to revolutionize plastic waste management by deriving its value for consumers in order to keep away plastic waste from the environment. Bintix works with individual households as the customers via scheduled waste pickup. And I know this because at home as well, I use Bintix since many years now. Roshan obtained his PhD in genetics and developmental biology from Baylor College in the US. And he's authored multiple research publications. Later, he joined Boston Consulting Group, where he consulted for the Fortune 50 companies. He moved to India a decade back and also co-founded Waste Ventures India, one of the leading waste management startups. He enjoys carpentry, running, reading, and cooking breakfast for his daughter. Thank you very much for being here, Roshan. The floor is yours.
So I think what I'm going to talk about, they're very familiar faces, nice to see Anusha, nice to see everybody else too. Fantastic. I want to talk about waste management in general. I'm sure Anusha will also pick up some of those items and others will also pick up that. But when a decade ago when I was moving to India, I spoke to somebody from Government of India who was quite senior secretary level person who had a pleasure to talk to. I was telling him I'm coming to India. I want to do something in the waste management space. It's something exciting for me to go. And then the reason why I spoke to him is my father-in-law put in touch with him so that I get a reality check. Because then I'm coming in from all high hopes, and then he needs to know what he's getting into. So then the person told me something which stayed with me for a long time. He said, Roshan, there is only waste transportation in India. There is no waste management in India. But then, to my surprise, from next 3 weeks to 3 years to so far for a decade now, there are 3 lessons I learned, which is very, very important, has remained with me as core to what we do in the waste management space. And also it is core to what anybody can provide as a solution in the waste management space. But then it also told me how that person who told me that there's only waste transportation and there's no waste management was absolutely not 100% correct. It is actually that we do quite a bit in the India, and we do actually discount that because we don't see it in person, and also it's because it's not visible to us. But at the same time, there's a lot more we can do. That's, I'm sure, is what all of us will say. But there are 3 lessons I learned in the next 3 weeks to next 3 years that have stayed with me, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. First is, of course, that there is 3 types of waste. There is no way around this. If you cannot separate the waste into these 3 types, there is no waste management. And if we separated the waste, as the world, everybody in the world separated waste into these 3 types, 70% of our waste issues will be solved today. So that is the extent to which this affects our planet, the extent to which it supports the waste management initiatives. So that's first is wet waste, which is anything organic. Anything that comes from a plant or animal is wet waste. As simple as that, anything organic. Right? But except for paper. Paper is also comes from plant, but we will put it aside as dry waste. Then something is reject waste, which is anything that has body fluids in it, like diapers, sanitary napkins, even for that matter anything that is sharp, broken glasses, syringes, needles, anything that is reject waste. So those are the 2 key ones, and then the third one is, of course, dry waste, which is almost 30% of your waste. This is all paper, plastic, metals, and glass, and so on. So now, if you were to segregate the waste into these 3 different types, then of course you can do composting at your home. Wet waste remains a major challenge, but it doesn't affect, as we know, the greenhouse gas emissions from wet waste is not as much. For every kg, it's only 0.8 kilograms of carbon dioxide. Whereas if you were to look at greenhouse gas emissions from the dry waste, it's almost 2.8 kilogram per kg. So even though it is 30%, it ends up contributing more to greenhouse gases than the wet waste in itself. So what I'm going to talk about and what Bintix focuses on is the dry waste part of it. That's what I'm going to focus on. So now, when you look at dry waste, the second lesson I learned was that if you were to walk across streets of Hyderabad, you will see that there's a lot of dry waste lying on the streets. This is true, and wet waste also lies around on the streets. It's no exception. Also reject waste. But then you will see mostly the plastic that you see lying around on the streets is your chips packets, your chocolate wrappers, your carry bags, anything that is flexible, anything that has a shape, which is rigid plastic is how we call it, is actually recycled amazingly well in India. So almost more than 90% of PET bottles are recycled in India. So you don't need a solution for PET bottles, which is bottles which you use for drinking water, the Bisleri cans and Pepsi bottles and so on. Your shampoo bottles and your conditioner bottles, or for your hand soaps, anything that has shape also gets recycled amazingly well in India. So a good chunk of that goes away. And even if you see those bottles on the streets when you walk, if you walk after 4 hours, it will be gone, because there will be some waste picker who will take it up and then sell it to somebody. So dry waste, not everything is lost to the environment, right? Almost 80% of paper is recycled in India, amazingly well. Newspaper is even better. Then almost 50% of plastic is recycled. I told you what is the plastic that doesn't get recycled. Almost 100% of metal gets recycled. No aluminum can goes unattended. No piece of rod or iron that is lying on the street will go unattended. It will be picked up by somebody, it will be used by somebody. So metal gets recycled really well. But glass is a very interesting material. When we started in 2016, almost 98% of glass used to be recycled. But today that percentage has gone down to 60%. That's because over a period of last 10 years, glass has lost value amidst waste pickers who pick up the waste. They used to get 2 rupees per beer bottle at that time. Even today they get 2 rupees per bottle. But whereas our inflation and our cost of living have almost doubled. So therefore the 2 rupees which they used to get before is equal to 50 paisa they used to get at that time, and which is not as much valuable. Which is why not every waste picker today, or not every kabadiwala today, likes picking up glass materials. So you will see lot many more refusing it in future. So with the glass, we are headed to a situation where we will have to manage glass differently. The current solutions don't work. Now that is also true for many other materials. But then how are we in a country where there's so much waste on the streets, there's so much that you can see, when I stand here and then say we do an amazing job, India almost recycles 50% of plastic, how are we able to do this? Because we ourselves as citizens, I don't think are putting in as much efforts. I mean, frankly, maybe most of you here might be putting in your efforts to segregate and give the waste to the right people. But if you look at Hyderabad, the official statistics is somewhere around 12% of the households segregate the waste. That I think is an inflated number. And in Bangalore, 44% of the households segregate the number. Again, I think is a little more inflated number. So when we talk about only so many households segregating waste very little, how are we doing so well? It's because of the waste pickers who pick up the waste from your home. What they actually do is they actually go through the muck that all of us throw, unsegregated. They go through it, pick up that is valuable to them, which is again I told you about your PET bottles or your shampoo bottles, or for your matter, carton boxes, glass to an extent, metals. They take out all that is valuable and then sell it to recyclers because that provides them value. So they earn somewhere around 100 to 200 rupees per day by doing that job, and therefore that gives them livelihood. Because they can earn livelihood from that, they take out everything that is valuable. But because glass is losing the value and doesn't provide them as much livelihood, even if they pick out 20 bottles, it weighs almost 10 kilos and it's very heavy. They don't want to carry 20 bottles for 40 rupees, no more. So that's the reason why glass is losing that value, and which is why it's gone. Now the second thing that you need to keep in mind is that if you were to look at developed world, there is some waste picking in the developed world too. I don't know if you've observed it whenever you traveled. There are people who are not doing as well in the developed world too, who go on the streets and trains of the world, maybe in Germany when you traveled, or anywhere else if you travel in Europe, in New York too if you travel. When you do see people picking up those cans and then taking it away and then disposing it somewhere, and then getting some, maybe a quarter or a few cents to them. That's the value they earn, and they actually use it to even buy a cigarette or to buy a sandwich or something like that. Now, the interesting thing is, even the people who are picking up, the number of people who are picking up is actually going down quite a bit. And if you look at developing and underdeveloped countries, the number of waste pickers in developed countries is way little. Developing country is reasonably high, and India having such a big population of 1.4 billion people, you will have lot many people. I'm talking about 25 lakh people to 40 lakh people being waste pickers, not a small number, right? That's quite population there. But if you go to underdeveloped completely, then there will be a lot more waste pickers compared to the population per capita, right? Now, if you look at the trend, what you see is that as the countries develop, waste picking becomes less of a job or a hobby, however, whatever you want to call it, or a means to earn money. So that is very concerning. As we grow, there will be less and less people picking up waste, which is why you will have a lot more waste on the streets. Today you only see flexible plastics. Hope we won't see a day when even the rigid plastics are seen on the street, right? That is the whole concerning pattern which you'll have to go against. Now when we look at it, there is a hidden value in whatever I'm talking about, right? Which is, there are two types of plastics. One is a good plastic, one is a bad plastic. I know all of us want to call all plastic bad plastic, but there are ways in which we can't live without it, right? You couldn't have had disposable syringes for everybody to be free of AIDS if there was no plastic available. There is a lot of innovations within plastic which are important and which happen, but unfortunately this is what it is. We have the world in which people consume plastics, and we have to see what can we do with it. So if you look at it that way, there is good plastic, which is, I'm not saying good plastic in that way, good plastic because you can recycle it. Therefore, I am calling it good plastic, which is all rigid plastic on the right hand side, and flexible plastic, which is all bad plastic in a way because it cannot be recycled. It has multiple layers fused. It cannot be recycled because they all have different melting points. So recyclers cannot manage any fused materials. Even if you have aluminium fused with plastic, which is in chips packets, you cannot manage it. You cannot produce anything meaningful from it. Therefore, it ends up in the environment, which is where you saw in the streets. Now, there are a lot of, the reason why I bring this up is if you are a consumer, tomorrow you go to a shop and you're buying your soap, fabric soap to wash your clothes. You do get it in two types of packaging. One is the big bottle big container you can get, or there's a pouch you can pick. Remember that the pouch ends up in the environment, it cannot be recycled. The bottle, however, will be picked up and recycled. So for every consumer who is picking up material, keep this in mind. that when you pick up something, there is an end point, and there is no right end point to all types of plastics. So there are some which go through right end point, some which don't. Now the second thing is, if you are into packaging designing, if any of you are into, or if you decide to go, this is another way to look at it. The more of the flexible plastics you design and produce, less of it is actually recycled and more of it is ending up in the environment. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you look at good plastic and bad plastic in that sense. Now this is waste champions at work. This is again waste pickers who are picking up the waste, for their livelihood, who are doing this. And this is again, I'm talking about 25 lakhs to 40 lakh people who do this on everyday basis, which is why India is not seeing twice the size of the mountains of waste we otherwise would have seen. And these are the ones who are actually making the mixed plastic less mixed because they're taking out something that is valuable. Now, with this, what we decided to do is, can we work on these type of plastics which are otherwise cannot be recycled, right? So we tried multiple solutions. One is, of course, something called a plastic pullback project, which means there are organizations in the world who say to different consumers or different companies, you are producing plastic, either you're consuming it or you're using it in your products. Why don't I help you pull that amount of plastic from world where plastic is a problem? So somebody is paying for all their plastic production or plastic footprint in US and saying, I produce maybe 40 kilograms of plastic a month and I'll pay $40 so that you can take out 40 kilograms of plastic from different part of the world. There's a plastic, pullback projects. A lot of those available are there. So we worked with those, and then we saw, okay, let's see if we can do that projects, because somebody in the US is paying, and then we are getting money to manage the waste, which otherwise we are not able to manage. We tried that. Second we did is something called extended producer responsibility, which means the companies which actually use plastics and then put that into the market. For example, a Coca-Cola uses PET material and then puts PET bottles into the market. So what has government said is, because you are using that plastic, you have to pull back that much amount of plastic from the environment. That's what the government has mandated. So that's called EPR regulations. It's there in e-waste as well. It's there in different other segments too. But then we decided, let's do that as well. So we did that as well. But the problem is e-waste became very fraudulent. People started counting same kilograms 10 times. And then they gave prices which were unbeatable by us. So we moved away from that as well. So all the projects we tried over a period of time ended up giving us not best results. We also started working with some recyclers who produce, boards from plastics. All right, we thought that might be a good way to go. It started really well. It helps us get the material to the recyclers, but then unfortunately, they don't pay you enough. So to collect every kg of the plastic, we spend around 15 rupees. But the recyclers were only giving us 3 rupees per kg. Now you're losing 12 rupees for every kg of the plastic you collect, manage and send it to recyclers. Now that is not viable for any company. So if you're running a company which requires profits for you to run, it becomes impossible to manage that. So those are the situations we ran into, and we were like, what do we do and how do we solve this problem? That's when we realized we have to create value from plastic, otherwise it ends up creating the same problem that we are seeing, right? You have to move away from today. If you collect all waste from different homes, Bintix collects all different types of dry waste, then you can earn around 15 rupees per kg as a person who collects and sends it out. But then your costs are much higher than that. So you cannot make it work. Even with EPR, even with other types of boards and so on, you cannot make that work as well. So we realized we have to find a way to get more value from waste. How do we get there? Is a question we asked. Then we realized, this through multiple iterations, I'm happy to answer that if you want. But then what we realized is, if you understand waste, you understand consumption behavior. If you understand what is the waste produced in a given city, you understand what are people consuming, right? I'm talking about, is Hyderabad producing more, is Hyderabad consuming more instant noodle compared to Bangalore per capita? You can identify that. You can actually look at all the instant noodle packets that are coming in the waste and see if that is the case. You can even go and say, is Maggi the biggest polluter in Hyderabad? You can find that, because Maggi packets are distinct from AP packet noodles, very easily identifiable. Now you can even say, is Korean noodle making an entry into Hyderabad or Bangalore, where did it enter first? Right? You can understand that by looking at Korean noodle packets. You can go one level further and ask, which is what our clients asked, is Korean noodles leading to Korean beauty coming in the city, or Korean beauty comes first and then Korean noodle comes next? What happens? You can actually look at the waste and actually answer that question as well. So you can understand a lot about consumption behavior of people if you look at the waste. Now what it does is that now we are looking at waste as a source of data, right? And now the data, as you all know, is 100 times more valuable than the material in itself. So that provides you a value which helps you pick up the waste which otherwise you are not able to pick up. So that's the whole learning we went through, and that's a whole system we did. But now, where is it useful? Now, as I told you, this can be used by policymakers. We do know today that Delhi produces more waste than Hyderabad on a per capita basis, and Hyderabad produces more waste than Bangalore on a per capita basis. And we also know what is the amount of bad plastic produced per home in Delhi versus Bangalore versus Hyderabad. And even within the Hyderabad, we also know what are the areas in Hyderabad which produce waste differently. Now, if policymakers were to have this data, they can actually build a better planning for managing the waste, and therefore becomes very, very useful, not only for managing the waste, but also coming up with policies like extended producer responsibility, making it better, making companies more accountable for what they produce as plastics and so on. The second is brands can use it, like I told you, to understand consumer consumption behavior. The example of the instant noodles I gave you. They can also make marketing more efficient and less wasteful because they do understand consumption behavior much better through the data that we provide. And finally, citizens do understand their behavior. When I don't know if there is Bintix people, I can show you the app that I have for my own home. You can understand how much waste you have thrown in last 1 month, last 6 months, last 12 months, how many trees you have saved, how much carbon dioxide you have averted. We are also going to get into how much of bad plastic and good plastic you have thrown, so that you know your plastic footprint as well. So you understand your waste behavior too, making your own behavior towards waste much better. We do see that whenever we go into a community, although around 70 to 80 of them start, it ends up going to 300, 400 of them, and the behavior of segregation gets much, much better over a period of time. So this is what also because we provide these data, it also helps communities to actually ensure if there's a community of 400 homes, we do not provide the phone number and the names of the people, but we do provide which home has been giving waste to Bintix and which home is not. So which tells the community that out of 400 homes, 375 homes are giving the waste. These are the 25 who are not giving the waste to Bintix, most likely contributing to the mixed waste. And therefore they can actually go and do the targeted communication and awareness building to those homes. So these are all the applications of how the data from waste can be made better. But going back to what I told you before, right? This requires, when you do this, it also has some other side effects or side benefits, which helps you, because now we are looking at waste as data, and it's contained in bags, and it's tracked from the waste producer all the way to the recycler. You're formalizing the whole chain. You know exactly who carried which waste and when that waste was carried, providing a traceability, and it becomes tech enabled. So technology has been nemesis of waste management players, and we do struggle to become technology enabled. This process makes it technology enabled, and ultimately what happens is, because you can earn more from that waste, you're making sure you're collecting all the waste possible. Again, it's an incentive for us to collect all the waste. We don't want to miss a single piece of chocolate wrapper because it's a piece of data. So you do want to collect every piece of waste, every piece of plastic, and then make sure that 100% of this gets through recycling. So those are the benefits of doing it. So it's just a thought that came to us, and it's just a way in which we look at the waste, and because of which hope we will be able to scale up much bigger. We cater to around 40,000 homes across 7 cities today. We want to hit around 1 lakh homes in next 2 years. Hopefully we'll do that, and that remains a significant amount of waste. When you look at it, it's almost 200 tons of waste every month, and if we scale up there, we'll be looking at 500 tons of waste every single month. Just to give you context, 20 tons can fill this room, and that's the context of it, right? So you want to go more and more and scale up more and more, And the question we asked is, how do we make it sustainable? How do we build value for it, for the way so that we can make it happen? And that's where we ended up. That's about Bintix and what we do at it. Thank you.
If this aspect that the data is valuable was not there, it would be a challenge to actually continue the work you had set out to do.
Yeah, I would be giving a different talk today. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, wouldn't be possible.
So in a way, it is commerce is still driving it. Profitability still drives this effort.
If you look at, I don't want to take away from Anusha's talk. If you look at Saahas Zero Waste, if you look at Hasiru Dada, if you look at Swachh, so the question they've asked is, should we be an NGO or should we be a for-profit entity? And to me, whenever you can, I think you should move away from being an NGO to a social enterprise to a for-profit entity, because what happens is it provides you capital, the talent and the scale for you to address the problem the better. So therefore, I always think that if waste management companies can be profitable entities, if they can be set up as startups or as enterprises, again, I'm not, the debate of socialism versus capitalism can be had. I'm happy to discuss that. That's for a different day. But I believe that if you were to be a company which is for profit, you would have a much larger impact. Today we have around 11 IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIT Patna guys in our team. I don't think I would have even dreamed about having them if that was an NGO. You do get outstandingly driven, passionate people in NGOs. That's fantastic and required. But unfortunately, waste requires many, many more of them coming in, and that's possible when you are a for-profit entity. So you're right. I think unless it's commerce-driven, value creation is a challenge.
Secondly, how many people are aware of? I know about Bintix because Ambience Fort. I live in Attapur, and I know some people in Ambience Fort, which has some villas, and they use it. How well known are you in cities?
So this is a challenge. The value is so clear, right? We are making so much. As I'm telling you that we can make 100 times more value from data, so we should be killing it in the market. But the challenge is, unless we figure out that value at all different level scales, we can't scale up as fast. So today we have not done any advertisement, zero marketing. It's all word of mouth, and we have 40,000 homes across India, and we have 130,000 homes who have sent us requests to be included in their service, and we're not able to go to them because we do see that if we were to serve them, the cost of that service will be much higher than what we can earn from the data. So therefore, we have to. So this is also a challenge to us as entrepreneurs. We have to figure out that value. As we grow, can we create that value? How do we go about it? Right? Those are the things which we'll have to create. But again, at the same time, there are some, exciting. For example, we went to Lucknow and we started collecting waste from there because Lucknow data was required for a company client. Lucknow has seen no waste management initiative whatsoever. Zero. We were the first people who were going and talking about waste segregation in the whole city. That was very rewarding because we have 1,000 people who segregate waste there. The whole city did not know about waste segregation there. So that was exciting. But again, there are 20,000 people who want to segregate the waste, and we are not able to provide services to. So there are challenges which we are trying to figure out, which is hopefully will someday we'll be able to cater to everybody who is coming to us for the segregation, for the collection of waste. Yep.
Thank you for sharing your points. It was very interesting to learn about your journey. I'm just curious to understand, since you are from the field and you have seen it, how has Indore as a city managed to triumph all the other cities when it comes to waste management? I was just curious.
No, I have been there, I've seen the system myself. It's an outstanding city managing. It's unbelievable to that level, right? It's because the bureaucracy, the political segment, and the citizens all came together and said, let's do this, make this happen. And then they also put in efforts at the right place. In any waste management, biggest issues are two in India, for that matter. If you were to solve that, it works out. Like I told you, segregation. Bringing in awareness about segregation is very important. They put in a lot of effort. They created a task force of around 470 people who went door to door every single day for next many years and told people to segregate the waste. That's all they did. And people, they listened on first day, some people listened on 30th day, some people listened on 300th day. But everybody started segregating. Right? The communication and bringing awareness was the key. Second is actually making sure that every home is tapped on and collected waste from. So they did that as well, which I think worked really wonders for them. But again, there are benefits of Indore because it's a 20 odd lakh population city, so it's no joke to do it even that population, because it's bigger than a lot of European cities for that matter. But still, it was amazing that they have done it. But if you were to do it in larger cities like metros, it would be a lot more challenging. And despite having that example, even not all cities in Madhya Pradesh have done that, although a lot of cities in Madhya Pradesh have done reasonably well. So it's not an easily replicable problem. But it's a good example that if citizens, political segment, and the bureaucracy came together to make it happen, it can happen.
Thank you so much for your suggestions.
Okay, we have the time. Otherwise,
No, we continue, but we keep having a Q&A. Yeah, thank you.
can we drop now?
No.
No, drop it.
Yeah.
I'll drop now.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to Saahas Zero Waste. Neri Anusha is a sustainability enthusiast. She has 7 years of experience in IT and financial sectors. Currently, she works as Manager Business Development and Operations at Saahas Zero Waste. Saahas Zero Waste, as many of you know, is an environmental and social enterprise with 10 years of experience in waste management, resource recovery, and social impact. They focus on 3 things: the Zero Waste Program, Producer Responsibility, and Circle Up. It seeks to provide waste management services to corporate campuses, townships, tech parks, hospitality sectors, bulk waste generators, and other consumers. We look forward to learning more from you. Anusha, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, thank you for this opportunity. In fact, when I came here, I thought the participants might not be aware, but after coming here and interacting with few of you, I realized, oh no, my assumption was totally wrong, because I could see people who already knew what is source segregation of waste, and they're doing it pretty well at their own homes. So I'm very happy to have like-minded people here. So this is about us. So if you see, we wanted to bring together nature, people, and use technology as an enabler. So for 10 years, we put people and nature before our profits. So that's how we started, and as Roshan mentioned, we started as an NGO. And in 2000, we started as an NGO. In 2013, we started this private limited firm, which is for-profit organization. So now both the organizations run parallelly, and NGO does its job in terms of creating IEC activities, that is information, education, and communication. We as private limited firm, we do our work with the help of the service fee provided by our clients. Otherwise, as Roshan explained, or you asked the question, how is that when the cost is so high, how would you even break even? So for us, it's a service fee from our clients. And another thing about us is we are an ISO certified organization for 3 standards. So we are, I think, the first waste management company, or one among the first, I would say, to have these certifications in place. How do I operate this? If someone can help.
This is the slide.
Thank you. So we are registered, or we are certified as a social enterprise, giving holistic services to largely bulk waste generators. And as an organization, we are now 400 plus employees pan-India, and we are largely a women-led organization on the top, I would say. We now manage around 130 tons of waste per day across approximately 50 sites of our clients, or more than that if you take individual client locations. So we are headquartered in Bangalore, and we own our material recovery facility which processes dry waste, and textile recovery facility which tries to sort textile into multiple categories and try to recover resources from textile. We also run our own e-waste refurbishment facility. What does that mean? We try to refurbish the used electronic items like laptops, and we put it back into the market at a very affordable price who cannot buy brand new products. So that is about the refurbishment center. So through all of this, one thing that we are trying to do is recover resources so that we rely less on the natural resources. And these are some of the problems, or 3 problems that we are trying to solve. One is definitely environmental compliance. 2 is ensuring there is no child labor and all the social benefits are given to all of our employees. So out of the 400 employees that I've shown there, majority of the employees for us work at the bottom of the pyramid. They all come from very lower social economic backgrounds. And we understand the health implications they might have if they are working with in an informal setup. So we ensure that all the social benefits, including an health insurance or ESI, whatever is applicable for them, is given, and all the protective equipment is in place for them to operate in each of our client sites. So that is how we are trying to solve the problem of child labor or informal setup for these waste pickers or people who are working in this space. The third is the traceability. So we do have our own inbuilt tools which help our clients understand where, from the source to the end destination, where exactly their waste is traveling. So that is how we help them with the problem of this traceability. Because once it moves out of our door, it becomes very hard to understand where is it going.
The red light should indicate her.
And this is the impact I think all of us understand what we are trying to do with our solutions. And as Urvi explained, these are 3 solutions broadly that we do. First is a zero waste program where we help bulk waste generators with their waste, and this mainly focuses on on-site processing of their waste. We help our clients process their food waste on-site largely, and then the dry waste is primary sorting happens on the site itself and then transported to a material recovery facility. And the next is the EPR, or the extended producer responsibility. So we help our clients with both plastic EPR regulation and the e-waste EPR regulations. So I will now move to the next topic because I assume Roshan has given small amount of understanding about EPR already, right? So the next is the Circle Up. Circle Up is the recycled products. We want to ensure that there is some provision where people can purchase products made from waste. So that is how the Circle Up wing or the department works. So these are different types of waste that we work with and in compliance with these waste management rules. These are different types of customers that we cater to, largely bulk waste generators. This is our flagship program, which is Zero Waste program. So starting from waste audits, we do on-site and off-site services, zero waste events, and we also help them get certified. So through this certification, we are helping them acknowledged on what they are doing. So for this, we do 3 types of certifications. These are internationally acknowledged certifications. And you could see our client list below. These are our on-site food waste systems, be it composting or biogas. These are some of our clients for EPR services for plastic and e-waste. And this is our Circle Up or where we ensure we are closing the loop by selling the recycled products. So these are some of our clients for recycled products. These are some of the products that we have. The first one is the textile recovery facility, where we are trying to sort textile into multiple categories. And the second one is the textile waste converted to decorative bells. This is from paper waste, notebooks. These are benches made from low value plastic or multi-layer plastics. This is a boat again from MLP covers, and this is a cabinet made from the Eco board. This is called Eco board. They're largely used for construction. This is a textile recovery facility. How do I?
You want to play it?
Yeah.
You click there.
Click on it.
Click there.
Like,
Okay. Is it not enabled? Okay, but still you could access it. It's not working? Okay.
Do you feel tired after climbing just one flight of stairs? You're out of breath, drained, and those few steps feel like running a marathon.
Every year, India generates about 8,000 metric tons of textile waste. 51% of this waste is post-consumer waste. Current data shows that only 1% of textile waste is actually recycled. This is what fast fashion has brought us to. And even this 1% of recycling takes place under exploitative conditions, largely through the informal sector, which works under hazardous conditions. For those of us working to introduce business models to enable resource recovery, intervention in textile waste was much needed. Saahas Zero Waste has been working with textile waste since 2020 and set up its first textile recovery facility, or TRF, in 2023. Pre-consumer waste comes in via our partner tie-ups with garment manufacturers. Post-consumer waste is collected from residences, our client campuses, the hospitality industry, other bulk generators, and at our TRF itself. Post-consumer waste is brought to the TRF, where it is first sorted for condition, color, and end use. Every item brought into the TRF is either reused, repaired, upcycled, recycled, or downcycled. Wearable clothes in good condition are put up at our swap shop, where consumers can exchange their pre-loved clothes for the ones at our shop. Clothes in wearable condition with minor wear and tear go into second-hand markets for resale. We work with self-help groups and other partners to upcycle pre-consumer fabric waste to make usable and decorative items. The rest of the textile waste is sorted as per color or composition to meet recyclers' requirements. Trimmings and other accessories need to be removed in order to enable recycling or reusing the fabric as pillows and toys and pillows. Soiled or damaged textile waste, which is less than 10% of the incoming waste, is sent to cement factories for co-processing. We do hope that our learnings and experience will help to turn around the textile sector and bring it on the path of a circular system. 1% resource recovery must move to at least 90%.
I think I have 1 more minute, right? That's what you're trying to say. Okay. Could you just go back to the slide? I'll take another 30 seconds, if that's okay. Could you hear me? Yeah. Okay. You need not play that video, but you could just open the slide.
Welcome to our materials recovery.
Yeah, so you could see the impact, and one thing that I would like to bring out here is the fourth column that says the parity between the salary paid to the highest or the CEO and the amount paid to the lowest staff, which is 8 times difference. I think this says our commitment to what we are doing. So I think in other organizations, the gap is very high. So yeah. And this is our team. We all come from different backgrounds, and I think impact is something that brings us all together. So this is our journey. We started in 2013 and we expanded now to multiple states from Delhi, NCR, Goa, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I will stop here to take if any one of you have questions.
Behind schedule, we take all the questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. So moving on to Peepal Waste Managers. Harshvardhan Era is the CEO and co-founder of Peepal Waste Managers and the head of operations of Make Soil. These initiatives are working to turn millions of tons of food waste that would otherwise go to landfills, as we know, into nourishing soil. Harshvardhan has a bachelor's in biotechnology from Nizam College and a master's in forensic science from Osmania University, and has developed various models of biodigesters and composters for organic waste management at the community, corporate and industrial levels. We look forward to learning more, and thank you so much for being here. The floor is yours.
Hello, good evening to one and all. So as the name says, make soil. So first let me give an introduction about Peepal Waste Managers and how is it related to Make Soil. Peepal Waste Managers is an entity that caters complete organic waste turning into either biogas or compost. So we have been into practicing this organic waste management technique since a decade, and we have developed a number of models of biodigesters that caters food waste or litter waste or any feedstock which is organic. And we have also developed few models of composters that suits for urban waste management. And we are spearheading a global initiative called Make Soil, where we are trying to connect the dots across the globe who are into waste management through composting or waste management through biodigestion. So Make Soil is a global platform where we are connecting two entities. Entity 1, soil maker, and entity 2, soil supporters. So let us understand what it is. We can repair the earth. So have you ever experimented the joy that comes with converting the food waste into rich and living soil? So it's a simple concept where we are trying to convert all the food waste that is generated at homes or at any residential places or offices or any community places into compost. So compost, we call it as soil. So the concept is thus derived, making soil out of the food waste. So as I told, we have two entities. Make Soil matches soil makers. So people who compost with the nearby soil supporters, people who contribute the scraps. So by doing this worldwide, so here the concept is we need to ensure that any waste that is generated at source is recycled. So we are trying to reduce the quantum of waste being transported away from the source of generation to ensure that lot of transport, lot of efforts are saved at the source itself. And composting is a very old practice that we have been practicing, and every one of us know about the science of composting, because all of us are here in this room are well versed with the technology of composting, waste management, and many of my colleagues or many of my fellow people told about the segregation of waste, about the different types of waste, and how waste is managed in urban and rural onsets. So this is the need of the hour. If the waste is not properly managed or not properly segregated and recycled at source, and ultimately it ends like this. So ingredients for making soil. As I told you, we just require a kitchen waste or leaf waste or other waste like shredded paper or soft. So what is a soil site? So here I was discussing about a soil maker and soil supporter. In order to have a soil maker to make a soil or soil supporter to support the scraps, we need a soil site. So we term any a composter on any a composting mechanism or a setup of composting as a soil site. A soil site is a place where people come together to turn their food scraps into soil. So in layman's language, we can call it as a community composting system. A soil site is a community composting system that allows a soil maker to brew the compost, and the scraps are generally contributed by all the soil supporters. Soil sites are hosted by soil makers. So for example, this is Goethe-Zentrum, and it has say around 100 students, 10 staff, and there are very few people who are supporting staff. A soil site can be hosted by Goethe-Zentrum. It can be of any size. It can be a small pot, or it can be a iron mesh, or it can be any a composter or any a vessel that is properly aerated. What we usually do is we ask a person who can take this initiative forward, and we batch him as a soil maker. And all the inmates or even the people in this locality who would like to donate the scraps, donate the food waste, can come down to this center and donate the scraps to the bin, or that we call it as a soil site. And soil maker is the person who coordinates or who actually composts the waste. So this is the simple concept of our make soil. So make soil then works to match the nearby neighbors to those soil sites, making it safe and easy for all to participate. So what we are doing is we are integrating everything through an application. So we have developed an application of Make Soil on iOS and Android. So everything is mapped on the soil site application. So if Goethe-Zentrum is starting a soil site today, it can be of any size. Even it can accept 1 kg of waste to tons of waste per day. So the concept here is to encourage more and more people in the society or in this locality to come forward to donate their scraps. And the soil maker or the person who is in charge of this soil site brews the compost with equal proportions of food waste or any organic waste and the dry matter, that is brown. It can be a cocoa peat powder, it can be sawdust or anything, and obviously there are many composting systems that are in operation. And what is the quantum of waste that is donated by the soil supporters? They can in turn take the same quantum of compost back to their homes. So it is like a barter system. You donate the food waste and you take compost in return. And soil maker is the person who is in charge of this soil site, and any excess compost that is being generated from this soil site can be donated to any nearest park, or it can go to any municipality, or he can even sell it online, or he can sell it to any nursery. It's up to him. So at the end of the day, this is a community composting system which works on a barter system. So every one of us know the 4 principles of soil making. It is obviously the carbon and nitrogen ratio. The second one is airflow, volume. So all these things we have been practicing, and we know the basic principles of composting. But here we are trying to exemplify a composting model that works on a community system or where people can come forward to make it happen, because sometimes we find it difficult at homes to compost. We may not have the inventory, or we may not have the right proportion of mixing the waste, or at the end of the day we may lose the enthusiasm to compost, because sometimes compost does not turn out to be a successful entity. So in order to curb all these things, we are trying to encourage more and more people to practice the art of community composting through our Make Soil initiative. So here the major challenge for us at any an entity is to identify a soil maker in this building. So first, when we came to set up a soil site, of course there is a soil site here in this premises and it is functioning properly. So as on date, the soil supporters are the students and also the staff, but we are trying to encourage more and more people in the society to donate their waste. So the first challenge that we faced was identifying a soil maker, a responsible person who can actually work on this composting. And luckily we were able to motivate a person by name Sandeep, and he's really doing good, and thank you Sandeep for all your support. And second thing is awareness generation on source segregation to all the waste generators. So here we have motivated many students to get all the food waste segregated from their homes and donate the food waste to this soil site. And yes, many students are practicing it. And operational self-sufficiency through knowledge sharing and capacity building on composting to soil makers. So we are trying to motivate and we are trying to educate the soil makers how to be a self-sufficient or self-motivated model. He or she manages the soil site with the resources that he or she has, and any excess compost that is available after distributing it to the soil supporters, they are in turn using it as a remix powder or cocoa peat powder to ensure that proper composting is done and there is no additional cost involved in the process. So these soil sites we are encouraging, and we are trying to motivate many communities like apartments, community parks, and we have also installed many soil sites in the common areas, like in we have a soil site in T-Hub, we have a soil site in one of the corporate companies like Colorade Group, we have it in Wipro. So we are trying to install the soil sites, the community composting systems in most of the corporates or most of the common places where there is which is accessible to many many people. So this is how the application works. All of you can please download Make Soil app in your convenience, and you can just explore how to start a soil site or how to explore a soil site in your area. So you can just click on find a soil site to find a soil site in your region, and you can just register on the soil site to donate the scraps. It can be a one-time event, it can be a recurring event. You can donate the scraps at any frequency of time, and the soil maker need to give you an access to donate the scraps. In turn, you can also create a soil site by just clicking on creating a soil site. If you have a composter or if you are already practicing composting at your home, you can just create a soil site to invite any of your neighbors to donate the scraps to your composter. If you feel that your composter is underfed, or if you feel that you have additional space to host one more composter in your backyard, or you can consider it as in your apartment or at your home, you can register as creating a soil site, and you can invite your neighbors or people in your community to just come and drop the waste or the scraps, and once the compost is harvested, you can distribute the compost to the stakeholders. So we also have developed many additional features on our application where your impact is also registered, and you can also download your impact on a weekly basis, fortnightly basis, on a monthly basis and annual basis. and that certificate you can display it at any point of time to anyone. That would give you more ecological points. So of course Mansa is my colleague in this effort, and she is the India ambassador for Make Soil initiative, and thanks for her efforts as well in making Make Soil a global initiative. Thank you. So any questions? As Urvi is saying, I will be attending at the end of the 4th session. Thank you.
It's really fascinating to have such different perspectives from different organizations, and not the least we have the GHMC, a critical perspective that we'd love to hear. We have, GZ has done very interesting projects, as you know, with the GHMC in the past, one of which was last year where we learned from waste workers themselves. We collaborated with Swachh and Kashtakari Panchayat, and we had waste workers from Pune come and talk to us and really teach us things that we should know. Yashashri Komareddy is the project head of the Swachh Bharat mission of the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, or what we all know as the GHMC. She has a master's in biotechnology and a master's in environmental science. She has over a decade of experience in various projects, both in the government and the private sector, in urban planning, solid waste management, and city development. We're so happy to welcome you here today, and the floor is yours.
A very good evening. I know I'm an odd man out, but with the same motto, to reduce the waste that is generated without segregation. I'm yet another person who does composting with lot of motivation in my home itself. But I see many other individuals on field when I go to different colonies in Hyderabad. Like you, ma'am, like you are very motivated. I see a lot of photos in your mobile which shows how targeted you are towards segregation. But I meet a lot of people during my work who has complaints on GHMC or indirectly on the waste collectors who comes to our doorstep with the SAT autos, the Swachh auto tipper. So before I go into the proper PPT and show you the exact work scope that we does and individually what I do as a part of GHMC, I would like to tell you one thing is I'm proud to be a Hyderabadi. Though I lived in London for 5 years, I have seen a very different scenario of waste management in London city, which is again a very less populated. In the year 2009 to 13 is my stay. So I was always looking at the waste pickers taking in a proper trolley, the compartments which are told to the vehicle itself, and an automated system which I have never seen in Hyderabad or in any other city in India before. So after coming back, like how Roshan shared his experience differentiating the things abroad and in our country. So I was always having this doubt how the waste is managed in our own city. Until the day I have entered into GHMC, I was not having any access to know what is going on with GHMC. Though I was a master's in biotechnology from University of East London, I never knew even from the social media. I was always assuming that the waste is managed but not in a proper infrastructure like London city does. Auto comes or a rickshaw, tricycle comes to and it is properly managed. But after coming and seeing the exact facts, what was happening at Jawahar Nagar before a player came into role, I was totally shocked, and there started my reason of being a part of the firm, being a part of the waste management. So if you see, the scope of GHMC is very big, not just handling one BGG or a household. It is to handle multiple stakeholders, and just how Roshan said, 2000 or 200 is this room. So GHMC handles 8,000 metric tons of waste every day. And the entire waste from that end of our new city, Gachibowli high-tech city, Rajendra Nagar, Attapur, everywhere it goes to one single point. Jawahar Nagar is the only facility for now which is handling the entire waste that is generated within the city. So that is a very unfortunate thing. Government is trying, all the bureaucrats who are working since 2009, since the concessionaire Ramki Enviro Engineers has come into the picture, everybody are trying to take another facility or a place to set up a decentralized plant. Still, there are some policy matters, discussions going on. Those who are in the field, they will know the challenges or the political pressures or the topography or the geography of that area, agitations from the people. Recently, we had an agitation in Pyaranagar where the site is already given by the collector, but still 4,000 people were on the roads to fight against this plant which was about to start its operations. So, this is exactly what I work for, Swachh Bharat Mission, which is in role since 2014. So these are our rankings. This ranking is not just waste segregation, but it is of everything: sanitation, cleanliness, our sewage treatment plants, and all the indicators that are set up by the ministry as per the toolkits which are released every year. So Swachh Bharat Mission itself has its own indicators that are related to our solid and liquid waste management rules. So we are currently in the 9th rank. So this is our ranking status as per 2023. Above 1 lakh category population. So above 4,000 plus cities were ranked last year, and this time they have again categorized into million plus cities. So now our ranking should be something better than 9 is what I hope. And we are a 5-star city, so we are aiming for a 7-star this time. This is the ranking criteria, how they actually rank. They start with an ODF city certification, and then ODF plus, and then water plus. So water plus is something like after all the water, the sewage and the used water, the liquid waste water is managed and treated, and reuse of the same water happens in a particular city, then we are ranked as a water plus city. So these are the this year targets of GHMC. So this is what I was talking about, Jawahar Nagar site. So the concession agreement was entered with Ramki Enviro Engineers in 2009, and their agreement ends 37. Their projections were different, and during COVID, that 1.5 to 2 years, the waste was little less compared, but then again it shooted up. When the market opened, the waste there was a drastic increase from 5,000 to now it's nearly 8,000 metric tons per day. And Jawahar Nagar is completely exhausted. The 323 acres of land is exhausted. The site is to its bottleneck. We are in a dire need of another facility. So government is looking forward in a very quick need. This is the scope of the project which were there, which was inceptionized in 2009. So currently, the door-to-door collection part is not yet handed over to Ramki group. That is the main challenge which is being faced from so many years. Otherwise, Hyderabad would be another Indore. Because door-to-door collection is not handed over and properly streamlined. It is my personal opinion. I am not saying this word as a GHMC person, but my personal opinion, because all this 10 to 12 years of my experience with GHMC, I have been into many workshops organized in different cities, all small, medium and large scale cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Solapur, everywhere except Indore. So I was eagerly waiting to see Indore because I constantly listen this name, Indore from lots of speakers. So it was this October 2nd I have been to Indore, and only the segregation is the perfect thing that they have achieved. And exactly as you said, 470 or 500 plus self-help groups, the woman who does the job, who motivates the individuals and made this segregation possible, which has ultimately encouraged such entrepreneurs to get into this field, because unless the waste is segregated, it has not got any value. So once Hyderabad achieves that segregation and streamlines the SAT auto people, or we get a proper system in place for the primary collection, then I think the dream come true for Hyderabad city. These are some of the concession agreement clauses for the project. And the main challenge, if you can see here, the SAT autos, now we have a circular issued by the government to collect bulk garbage, bulk waste generators, like what Saahas is doing here and like many other NGOs are doing. They collect waste from bulk garbage generators which are generating more than 100 kg waste per day. So that is definition given by MSW rules for bulk garbage generators. So the SAT autos want to collect waste from bulk garbage generators with a high value. Say for example, some XYZ hotel is there in this area in Banjara Hills. Our SAT auto driver goes there and he fixes some price on his own because he is an independent worker, independent waste collector. We did not define any BGG fare for them when they were deployed or the autos were given for them on a tripartite agreement basis. So they collect waste from BGGs and take a higher fare compared to the fare notified by GHMC, which is only 2.8 rupee per kg. So in that way, a SAT auto driver goes to more commercial establishments and collects the more waste and drops all these mixed waste or whatever the hotel waste into the nearest transfer station, and in that way he is ignoring the households or the colonies he is being attached to. So that's the main reason why Hyderabad is ending up with so many GVPs within the colonies, the garbage vulnerable points or the hotspots. And since 2 years, GHMC is itself spending a lot of money on clearing these GVPs. It is like every day they end up littering or throwing garbage and we pick up. And we also have a consultancy who monitors all this GVP's collection system also. So it is continuous process. Since 2 years or more than 2 years, we are having more than 2,200 GVPs and 500 such hotspots within the city. Jubilee Hills and Banjara Hills are also not exception for this GVPs. We also have GVPs and hotspots here. We also have it in Falaknama, the other part of the old city also. So in that way, SAT autos are earning more. My main intention is if for entrepreneurs like Bintix and Saahas target this BGGs and make them understand the importance or give them a value, like how they can earn more money instead of paying the amount to SAT, because BGG is not involved in the Ramkis agreement, what I guess. So if they can directly tie up as per the new MSW amendment rules with the BGG, the autos who are aligned with the colonies will definitely do their job. So that's what I mean. All the new entrepreneurs who are coming in the waste management system, if they can target the BGGs in a more intensive manner, then I think the GVPs can be eliminated, hopefully. And then yet another problem for Hyderabad is C&D waste management. Everywhere I come from Gachibowli and all my colonies filled up with debris. Because I am from GHMC, I call my nearby local officers requesting them to pick up. But what a common citizen, how many times will they pick up? It is just another GVP point. GVP is the mixed waste and debris is the construction waste. And the main problem for construction waste is we did not include any debris collection charges in our town planning. That is under planning and we are doing it. We are also introducing a CCMS system now, comprehensive Chalan management system, which is completely automated and an app generated system, wherein every enforcement officer of GHMC can levy the penalties who are dumping, and also a collection system is streamlined. So hopefully in another 3 to 4 months the complete system will be in place, and whenever a building refurbishment or a new construction happens, before they apply for a permission, building permission, so we are introducing debris collection charges within the permission charges. Then the collection is our job and it straight away goes to the nearest or the allocated waste management plant. So these are the plants, the sites, 4 plants presently Hyderabad has got, all with 500 tons per day capacity. So all the 4 plants, one is Jidimetla, Fatulaguda, Shamshabad and Tumukunta projects. These are the secondary collection points. We have a toll-free number. So if a household wants the concessionaire to come and collect the waste, we have a toll-free number with which they come and collect and drop it in these collection points, and once it is more than a 20 tonner or a bigger vehicle comes and takes it to the processing site. So these are the toll-free numbers and the WhatsApp numbers if you want to communicate in your WhatsApp groups and all the like if you are a part of NGO or if you are a part of a gated community, you can definitely take these numbers and circulate within your groups. These are some of the penalty clauses which have been implemented since 2019 on waste dumping, unauthorized dumping. Because since all the 4 projects have come into the picture, we as a part of GHMC have been collecting unauthorized waste completely. So nobody is claiming their waste. Unclaimed waste is what we collect from 4 to 5 years now. So nobody is claimed for their waste. Nobody wants to pay 400 rupees and give the waste so that it is properly managed and recycled. So it is continuously we are picking the unclaimed waste from the unauthorized dumping sites and quarries. These are the pictures of some of the SCTPs and the end products. So finally, apart from the waste management system which was already in place before somebody like Yashasri came into Swachh Bharat mission, all the processing plants were already in place. But what are the main things that needs to be focused for a city like Hyderabad to get a good rank? Are these the wall paintings? All these are as per the indicators set down by the MOA. So no hanging banners. All the street vending zones are to be a 0 litter zones. So public walls are free from posters. So all these is my scope, what I focus. The beautification part and the covered drainages or the stormwater drains. All the GVPs transformed into selfie points or another the beautification done in the GVP locations. So this is what exactly the project implementation unit Swachh Bharat mission does, because everybody at GHMC has got their own scope of work rather than focusing on what exactly the indicators of SBM needs to be done. And this is reuse of the treated water from the STPs in the major fountains at the traffic junctions. This is setting up of RRR centers, the reduce, reuse, recycle centers. We have this. Is anybody aware of such centers in Hyderabad? We have 176 such centers. And we are going to geotag them and then show it on the map. Waste to Wonder parks, zero waste events, the public toilets and sensitization programs, recognition of Swachhta champions. So all this are done in a regular basis and they are not documented properly. So this is what we do, we document it properly and show it that Hyderabad has got a very big team, more than 30,000 workers who come to on roads before we all wake up to sweep, to clean, to manage the waste, to collect. Single-use plastic drives and on-site composting. So we have 4 to 5% of the on-site composting done in every colony that has been regularly monitored by any of our Jawans and SFAs. This is another component which has got a huge weightage in the Swachh Bharat mission, that is citizen feedback. So if you are aware of any brand ambassadors of GHMC, or if you are aware of single-use plastic drives, so these are the questions what assessors come into our individual colonies and they ask, and accordingly they give. So thank you, and I would like to add one more point apart from all these Swachh Bharat mission initiatives. please try to compost your own waste, because it gives a lot of happiness. And I myself is involved into home composting since 11 years I guess now, and only during COVID I stopped it. That is due to the flies, and most of my apartments and my neighbors used to come and spend their time on the terrace, and I was not allowed. So it is the reason why I stopped during the COVID. But after that, and I never stopped composting. The only mantra, maybe you might know this or you might not, but don't put the waste from your plates, what is left out after cooking. Instead of putting the cooked waste, the uncooked vegetable peels, or all the vegetable and fruit peels after cutting everything, all the tea drained, the tea powder drained one, everything, eggshells, everything can go except the cooked food. If we add the cooked food, then it smells. That is my experience, and we can't handle it for a longer time. So I only does it in small containers and plastic drums and used paint buckets with holes in it, and I perfectly get composting. I use it in my bedroom indoor plants also. So that is my own experience, and all like what madam is doing with milk packets is awesome, ma'am. I have trained many, even I trained my mom to segregate milk packets, but it is a big challenge, and keep doing it. Thank you.
Two questions, but one really, if anyone would like to direct it to any of the speakers, because I know we didn't have time for Q&A after.
I think there are many things we can't stop using. I mean, so reduction is definitely a mantra, can we reduce something? But most of us, for example, get our milk in milk pouches, right? Maybe you all know others who do the same thing, I don't know. But it's probably 15 years now. So I remove my milk, I don't cut a corner, because then that piece again. So I make a slit and rinse it out thoroughly and slap it onto my kitchen tiles, which are normally behind our taps, right? We mostly have a tiled surface, and it drips down, and by evening or the next day I have a grill on my kitchen balcony, so I just put the wet side face up, and then I have a plastic cover, so it takes probably a month or a month and a half. I have a small, and I collect all my milk covers, all of them, and they are so thoroughly rinsed that there's no smell. And there's a lady called Poonam Beer, who's no longer with us in Bangalore. She's the founder of Daily Dump, all those aesthetic composting pots. So Poonam used to call the kabadi wala a recycle guru. In India, without the recycle guru, we really wouldn't be anywhere. So my guy comes every Sunday. Most of us have kabadi walas who come once a week, or typically a Sunday, and I donate all my waste. So I collect chocolate covers, biscuit covers, Roshan Samyas. So that's laminated waste. You can't do much with it. So that's in one packet. Milk packets. So I'm told milk packets, he'll pay you 8 rupees a kg or 7 rupees, but no question of taking money from him, because he's doing us a service. So I feel each of us can choose one thing we can do daily. Just one thing, So I started with milk packets, and now I've added many things. The help who works in my house also knows what. So I think when my house is swept, little bit of not that I have much of it, dust, and maybe tissues, paper which I've used to clean my tawa or something, but everything else goes in packets in a recycling stream. And the kabadi wala, Firoz Bhai as I call him, he will come, I have his number, when things pile up, he comes and just takes everything. The less you can keep away from your bin, the better. Because once something goes into the recycling stream, it has a possibility of value. So it's too much. So one thing that we can all do, and it's a daily action. You know, it's like cooking or exercise or pranayama or meditation. You have to be committed to one thing for our city and for our planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful note to end this discussion. First of all, I must appreciate Hyderabad. It is our city for coming out on a weekday to talk about waste. We were a little bit worried, but thank you so much for your commitment to this. Thank you to Roshan, to Anusha, to Harshvardhan, and to Yashashree for just such an interesting discussion, giving us different perspectives. It is our city and our shared planet. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night. May I call you to please give a little token to our speakers? Yeah. Don't call me.
Is that compost?
No, these are just cloth gifts. Cloth bags. Yeah. Roshan, if you would please.
Thank you.
Recycling and repurposing. The Hyderabad Literary Festival does need to use some sets. We have turned them into bags. We'll be very happy if you can flash the logos of H&F in your bag as a recycling product. Please welcome to pick up.